Good morning, class. My name is Miss Sanchez, and in today's lesson, I'm going to teach you how to add 1, subtract 1, add 10, and subtract 10 using a hundreds chart. So first off, I'm going to go over some terms to get you familiar with what it is we're teaching today, or whatever it is we're going over today. So we only have one term, and that's the hundreds chart. And a hundreds chart is a 10 by 10 grid with the numbers 1 through 100 printed in the squares, which is shown right here, right below it. Next, we'll go over some math stuff that I have over here written, and it's going to help you do the example problems, practice problems, and your homework problems step by step. So, if you have any questions, raise your hand. Don't be afraid to ask. Also, make sure to be writing all this down in your notebook so you can use it on your homework later tonight. Okay, now we have steps 1 through 4. We're going to go over those so we can get to know what it is we're working with. So step 1 is find your starting number on the hundreds chart and circle it using the assigned color. On your practice problems and example problems, each problem is going to have a color assigned to it. So using that color, you're going to use that to circle your beginning number. Step 2, if you are subtracting 1, you move 1 box to the left. If you're adding 1, you're moving 1 box to the right. Now, if you're subtracting 10, you move 1 box up. If you're adding 10, you move 1 box down. The box you land on is the answer. So write that in your answer space. So now we're going to move on to the example problems. And our first example problem is 32 plus 1. And for this problem, we are assigned the color green. So what we're going to do is, following the steps, you're going to find your starting number on the hundreds chart and circle it using the assigned color. Starting number would be 32. We go to the hundreds chart, we find 32, and we circle it. From there, we determine if we're adding or subtracting. And on the problem, we are adding 1. So if we go to our steps, if we add 1, we are adding 1, move 1 box to the right. So we're going to move 1 box to the right. And we land on the number 33. So the number that we land on is our answer. So 32 plus 1 on the hundreds chart is 33. Now, example problem number 2 is 64 minus 1. And this assigned color is blue. Let's go ahead and just mark this one green underneath. And let's get out a blue color now. Okay, so our starting number is 64. We go to the hundreds chart and we circle 64 just like we did to the last problem, but a different number. And we are subtracting 1. So going back to our steps say that if you are subtracting 1, you move 1 box to the left. And our answer that we land on right here is 63. So 64 minus 1 using the hundreds chart is, that's correct, 63. And we're going to mark blue underneath it so we know that we used blue on the chart for that problem. Now, our next example problem is 88 plus 10. And for that problem, we are using the color yellow. So using the steps again, 88 on the hundreds chart. We circle it, plus 10. So going back to our hundreds chart, we go and we find what we do when we are adding or subtracting 10. So on step number 3, it states if you are subtracting 10, you move 1 box up. But if you are adding 10, like we are in this example problem, we are moving a box down. So 88 and then 1 box down is correct. That's it, 98. So 88 plus 10 is 98. 8 using the hundreds chart. And mark yellow right there. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to hand out some practice problems for you to do. And afterwards, when everyone is done, we are going to go over them together. Alright? So can I get one person to help me hand out these practice problems? Thank you. Okay, so after walking around, I chose 3 students to come up here and work our practice problems. And I want to say thank you so much for working these out. Now we're going to see if we got these correct. So right here we see that you wrote 27 minus 10 equals 17 on the hundreds chart. So let's see if we got that correct. We're going to work it out on this hundreds chart that I have on here. So 27, find that on your hundreds chart, which is right here. And then minus 10, our steps say that if you are subtracting 10, you move 1 box up. Correct. There we go. And our answer is 17. You got that one right. So check right there. Number 2, 85 plus 1. So we're going to find 85 using the correct marker on the hundreds chart, which is right here. And that's a plus 1. And on our steps, it says if you are adding 1, you move 1 box to the right. So 85, 1 box to the right. Using a hundreds chart is 86. Thank you. We got that one correct. And then the last problem is 90 plus 10. So what did we say about adding 10? If you go back to the steps state that if you are adding 10, move 1 box in which direction? That's right, we're moving 1 box down. So if we find 90 on the hundreds chart using the correct color, we're going to be moving 1 box down. And our answer is 100. Great, guys. We got all of these right. Alright, great, guys. We got all the example problems and the practice problems correct. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand out some homework that's y'all are going to work on tonight and that's due tomorrow morning. Does anybody have any more questions? Okay. So in conclusion, what we learned today was how to add 1 and subtract 1 and how to add 10 and subtract 10 using the hundreds chart.